You could be my Candyman, 'cause I really know you can. Welcome back, guys, to another Thrift Shop CD review. This week, we're throwing back a bit to my roots with another wacky 90s one-hit album that, honestly, going into it, I really didn't think I'd enjoy all too much, but ended up actually having a lot of fun with, and so I figured it warranted at least talking about a bit here. I'm talking about, of course, John B. Schaefer III, aka Candell Manson, aka Candyman. An avid poet in his youth, while attending Washington Preparatory High School, hip hop was really just in its infancy, and so when he finally got his ears around some hip hop, he started putting some beats to his words and garnered quite a reputation for himself around the school. And when fellow student Sir Jinx heard about that, he invited him to do a rap battle in order to find new artists to work with Dr. Dre, a cousin of Sir Jinx's. Winning that battle put Candell in prime position to make his mark on the industry. He even worked with the great Johnny J. He was friends with the legendary producer who worked with Tupac. He helped him produce a 3-track EP for Dre titled Hip Hop Addict, and I found an unofficial release of it online, and the man can rap. He's got flow that was impressive enough for the Doctor to eventually, I guess, fandangle him away to get a deal with Epic Records to release this. This is Candyman's debut from 1990. Ain't no shame in my game. Fandangle? Is that even a word? Did I just make that up? Once again, working with Johnny J. Candyman does show off his proficiency on the mic here, but it gets sporadic and it tends to be more towards the end of the album anyways. The primary focus seems to be trying to capitalize off his platinum-selling top 10 single Knockin Boots with a bunch of pop rap and maybe some LL-styled R&B ballads that really just pigeonholed the man into a pretty uninteresting catalog here. I don't totally dislike the man or this album. I don't think he's trying to be taken too seriously. It's just his constant attempts to just recreate the success of this single led him along a path of just really not enjoyable music for me, and I don't think a lot of other people enjoyed it as much as they enjoyed this album, because it seems he has disappeared almost entirely until like posting a single on YouTube just last October. The man was in the right place at the right time to be a star. I guess he just couldn't adapt or didn't get quite the right amount of chances to try new things because, yeah, like I said, he couldn't recreate the success of that lead single, which we're going to get into in a minute, but we'll talk about the beginning of the album, which is another problem with it. It's something that plagued a bunch of early 90s hip-hop albums. We've got ourselves a skit. The skit is a mock game show of sorts that pits the contestant Rad Brad Chad against a so-called Asiatic black man from the motherland. He's got like 5 names, so I didn't memorize them. Either way, he wins the contest against Rad Brad and gets a bunch of trappy and sort of racially motivated prizes, like a 42-ounce bottle of suntan lotion, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but he also gets a copy of this Candyman CD. It's either a funny and self-aware way to open up this record or just a totally thoughtless way. I'm not sure. Either way, I got a chuckle out of that, but that's really all this skit's good for. And before we get into the music for real, I just want to set a couple of more things straight when it comes to Candyman in this record, and I guess just my feelings about it. There's really no false advertisement. There's no shame in Candyman's game. He's all about Knockin Boots, and that's crystal clear with this. It's exactly what it tells you it is. It's like candy. You eat a bunch of it, get high for the 35-minute run time, maybe fired up for another 25 after, and then just crash back down to reality, kind of dizzy, feeling unwell. And I really can't recommend anybody listen to this album for like a week straight like I have. Understand it's not good for you and enjoy it shamefully. Now into the actual music itself with the self-titled Candyman, introduced by the sweet pipes, the best vocal performance on the whole album. It's, I think, Det Pleasant here. She just hits you with the "You could be my Candyman." Just really boom. I don't do it any justice at all. Then we're met with the 80s backbeat and Candy rapping about just his primary focus, sort of an LL styled flow, and all just trying to grow his female fan base. As uncomfortable, awkward, and corny as they sometimes can be, I love all those 80s and 90s pro safe sex movement music numbers, and Candyman's addition to the mix is a pro condom song titled "Don't Leave Home Without It." It's probably my favorite song in his entire catalog. Some old school rap style and some of the hookiest samples on this entire album. The "Something You've Got," and then the "Still End Up Knockin' the Boots" that teases the eminent hit on this album. Knockin' Boots is Candyman. The guy attempted to triple down on the success of this song, not only making a Knockin' Boots Part 2 in his fourth album, but also naming his fifth album Knockin Boots 2001: A Sex Odyssey. That novelty cash grab has never really worked for him. This album is the only one he's ever had that charted, and if you haven't heard the original Knockin' Boots, it's not really a song that holds up beyond its novelty. That is the only thing it's got going for it in my mind, with the flow and the raps being cringy and gimmicky. I don't get it, and I don't understand how he claims this song originally was a regular rap song and not a pop rap song, because that's all this is. It's connected with a piece that's truly pop rap. It's titled "Melt in Your Mouth," and it's actually superior in pretty much all regards to his Knockin' Boots crown, but regardless, it's also one of the softest pieces of hip-hop from anybody with associations with Dre I've ever heard. Just chocolate, soft-serve, cougar-catching music. He really gets close to self-awareness on the track "Playing on Me," about getting caught cheating on his girl and then being cheated on, but ultimately it just comes down to him not caring about anything besides knocking boots. It's another novelty track that's good for a spin, a chuckle, and then forgetting about it. It's not what I have to say about this whole project, but going through the first half of it, it does certainly start to feel that way, and it makes me pretty glad it was just given to me and I didn't have to pay for it. The tables finally start to turn a little bit on the next track, today's topic, but you have to get through another goofy, sort of racist skit again at the beginning of it. The song is all about rap's crossover to the mainstream and the media's push back against that. Candy's rapping is super fire here. It's relevant lyrics coming out super fast and smooth, and besides the intro, I don't have a whole lot of complaints here. This track rocks, and the flow keeps going for the next song. When Candyman speeds up his rap style, he truly shines as an artist, not on these pop rap slowed down R&B cuts. He comes out with the Mac is Back a year almost before Sir Mix-a-Lot's Mac Daddy comes out, and he spits quick and slick over this high energy, super classic sounding jazzy instrumental on this track that you really don't want to miss. He unfortunately ends up dumbing his sound down again here on this album's final single, Nightgown. Just another courting track. This one has an 80s electro pop instrumental. It's at least a little bit more engaging than the previous two singles, but man, he just had some fire going and he snuffs it right out. The next track is probably the worst Crew intro track I've ever heard. It's called Who Shakes the Best, and it starts off with, I guess, sort of a skit of two girls doing like a hand clappy, like mock rappy thing, and he says, "Oh, that's so childish. Oh, you're doing it all wrong," and then jumps into this just horrible track. I guess it's like the equivalent of a modern TikTok song. It would have been some stupid dance with it or something, but man, forget about this one too. It's really quite a shame because these last two tracks are dope in my opinion. Keep On What You're Doing is certainly pop rappy, but it's inspirational, fun, and funky, and they follow it up with some of the most fiery verses on the whole album. It's 5 verses of depth, but I think there's only like 2 or 3 verses in this song. Either way, it's some of the sickest rapping that you'll hear on this project, besides maybe the hard as an erection line. I feel like I'm encountering an entirely different artist at the end of this project than I did at the start. Gives me such mixed feelings about this whole project. Not sexual feelings, sorry Candy, you're a little too old for me. For $1 or $2, sure, it's worth it. I guess you could go through and mark down which tracks are for a pop listening and which ones are for a hip-hop audience. Maybe that's a little too messy. I don't mean to give you guys any projects. If you're hungry for more Candyman, he did release his second project, Playtime's Over, through Epic the year after this, but it didn't do very well and the label dropped him. He would sign with IRS and release I Thought You Knew in '93, but that one flopped too. His fourth, Puck What You Going Through the independent label Ruckus, and even the single Knockin Boots Part 2 couldn't lift Candyman back into relevancy. I've already mentioned his Knockin Boots Sex Odyssey album in 2001. His last project, Platinum Hits, I couldn't even find a version I could listen to online anywhere. I just recently stumbled upon his YouTube channel, Candyman Entertainment, that only just started back in October, so I've even been around longer than he has on YouTube. It's linked down below. Maybe you can bump him up a couple more subscribers, get him to that monetization threshold. I've linked it along with all those other albums that I've talked about, this and as well as my Sir Mix-a-Lot and LL Cool J reviews. Check those out, that would mean a lot. If you're still here and I've still got you, make sure you've liked the video, make sure you've subscribed for next week's Thrift Shop album review, and you can be my Candyman, 'cause I really know you care. Thanks so much. If you're still watching the video, I'd just like to do a quick little update on my upload schedule. I'm going to be shifting these primary reviews to Thursdays and then uploading more of a bite-sized kind of track snippets of the other albums that I've picked up along the way that have some great stuff that's worth mentioning. Just the entire album is not worth digging through and analyzing piece by piece, and I didn't want to just toss those albums back because I know there's some value in there and I would like to share that with you. So if my video isn't coming out on Monday, it's coming on Thursday. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. Don't miss it. Don't leave. I love you all, and thanks for watching.